good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Welcome back to the live stream. We're doing something a little bit different today. And if you just joined us, hit the subscribe button, the like button, and notification bell. Okay, sorry about that interruption, everybody. Seems that my camera decided to do the blackout for everybody. So, again, let's start at the beginning. Welcome to the channel. If first time here, hit the subscribe button, like button. Don't forget about the notification. Hopefully you guys can hear me. Let me know if you guys can hear me. That'll be the positive note. Hopefully everybody stayed. We started off good. I see we got 6 people on the stream. That's great. But let me tell you why you're here today. And hopefully everybody understands why we're here today. We're here to talk about the Nvidia NX1, the 20-core CPU processor they're working on. It's an ARM processor. The leaks are out there, so like I said, take it with a grain of salt. We pulled up some stuff for you guys today. This way, you guys will be able to see what I see and what's going on with that. So we will work on that. But first, I'm going to let everybody climb in here. You know, I'm going to let the Good Time Gang get in here and talk to us for the moment. So let me go ahead and pull up another chart. And yes, I got everything prepared, but I just like to do everything one step at a time. Wow. Okay. There we go. We are pulling up the charts. Alright, we'll put that off to the side for now. Okay. Long as we got everybody here, we got everybody back into the action. Guys, you're more than happy to chat, you know, what do you call it? See, now I'm losing my mind again. You know, we have a live stream chat box you guys can talk in. If you like, and if you got questions you want to, you want to ask about, then just get in there, ask your questions, because I'll be more than happy to answer them. You know, I'm kind of different than everybody else. You know, I look at the chat box and I see when you guys put, you know, questions and stuff like that. And at least I know if you jump in that chat box and you say you're here, then I can say hi to you. But I can't say hi to you if you guys don't get into the box. So, but I'm going to say hi to you anyway. And if you're just watching this and you're just enjoying yourself, get your drink and snacks. I got mine. I'm kind of disappointed though. I'm going to tell you why I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed for the fact that I thought Nvidia was going to come out with some gangbuster CPU, but with the leaks, it's not looking that way. It's kind of looking like somewhat of a 2-year-old processor. Or maybe more. Or maybe it's old architecture that's not cutting it. Apple's cutting it. They're cutting it so much that I guess they're having problems with their AI over there. See? I don't know how we can get past talking about AI now, guys. I really don't. I mean, AI's been the subject of everything. No matter what event that you watch, if Nvidia event, AMD event, Intel event, any kind of event, everybody's talking about AI. It's the hot topic that's going on around the world. Doesn't mean we're going to talk about it all the time, but we ain't got much of a choice, it looks like. Looks like our choices are limited now. I always said my choice has been limited years ago. Basically back in, what was it, 1990? 89, 90. Let me tell you a little backstory. I had a friend back down in Florida, right? He said to me, Jay, you have to look at my computer. Believe it or not. He says, you got to look at my computer. It's just, it doesn't run right. It does not run right. And I said, okay, well, what are you trying to do? You control it, and basically you can do anything you want with it. You can use it as a paperweight. What do you want to do with it? I threw that funny into him because, you know, that's something he needed to know about being a paperweight. So I looked at it. He still had, what was it? Can't remember the damn processor. He had an Intel PC. I think it was like an HP Intel or something like that. But it was a long time ago. But the whole thing of the story is this, guys. I'm not going to bore you with the story, but the whole moral of the story was this. He went in there, he tried to download a whole bunch of stuff. I mean, he downloaded so much stuff from the inner boob that what happened was all that stuff he downloaded filled up his hard drive. Back then, the hard drives weren't that big, but he had a chance to fill it all up, and he got to the point where he only had like maybe 35 KBs left, kilobytes. I was like, man, you can't do that. You have to leave a 20% off the top for room for functioning of your program. Your Windows program. It's like, oh, I didn't know that. I thought I could use a whole 100% of it. Guys, take a learning lesson. You cannot use 100% of your hard drive, SSD, HDD, whatever. Because once you cap it off, and your operating system has no functionality, because it has to swap. It has to swap from the hard drive system through the CPU and through your system memory. Once you cap it off, there's no room for swapping. So what happens is you'll black screen or blue screen. You have a big old problem on your hands. That means then you'll have to get another hard drive, and then you have to use the other one as a secondary drive. It means you have to reset Windows and everything else, and you know, go through the whole 900 yards of trying to remove half the stuff that you put into it out of it. But by then you'll have your new operating system. Then you'll probably just transfer over what you want, leave 20%, and then boom, you're done there. But what I did was, since they didn't really use SSDs back then, they used the HDDs, I turned around and me and him got a bigger hard drive, 1 terabyte. Back then it was big enough for him. So after plugging in a 1 terabyte, can't say it's all perfect. And what I mean by 1 terabyte, that means we took 4 drives, 4 of the exact drives, and we mirrored them into 1 terabyte. It worked. So, just letting you know that, okay, enough with the hoopla. I just wanted to give you guys that little story so that way you guys can understand, you know, just don't overfill your hard drives. Leave 20% off of the top. That key moment. Another person was asking me about that, and I was like, okay, well, it seems that, again, this is like a same song and dance deal where everybody fills up their hard drive and doesn't know to leave 20% on it. It's crazy, crazy, crazy. But let's get even more crazier. Let's go to videocards.com and start talking about why we're here. Okay, now we're at videocards.com. I know I don't have the big cursor up yet. I will have it up. I will have it up. We're moving it around. We're getting it downtown. Let's see. God, Windows moved things around. Sorry, Microsoft must be moving stuff around, but anyway, let's go back over here. We got the big cursor now. Hey, Dakota, good to see you, man. Good to see you at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Probably be about around, what, 9 o'clock your time, maybe, kind of. But this is one thing that I really want to talk to you guys about. And I mean about. The Nvidia NX1 20-core processor, CPU. It's a performance leak and reveals high-end ambitions. And believe it or not, they're not just talking about a laptop, they're talking about a desktop too. So, I know it probably sounds like it might be like the Sparks, but what if it's not? What if it's not the Sparks? What if they're going to sell the CPU separate and let motherboard manufacturers make an awesome motherboard and we got a whole new DIY kind of bit? I really want you guys to think about that. So let's go into the benchmarks really quick. Well, no. Let's do this. Let's just go through the story of it and then we'll get into the benchmarking. Don't peek. Nvidia's long-rumored entry into the consumer CPU market was not confirmed at Computex. We knew they weren't going to do that. So, the company decided to postpone the release to an undisclosed time. Undisclosed time. Very undisclosed. However, rumors of an ARM-based processor being in development are finally taking shape, with the first leaks. Was supposed to be launch of 2026 first quarter, or it was supposed to be the end of 2025 fourth quarter. Just let you guys know that. Nvidia says it to be working on two variants, N1 and N1X. Did I say NX1? I said NX1, didn't I? You guys can correct me on that. It's N1X, my bad. Where the later is reportedly indeed for desktops and formally is apparent coming to laptops. A1 developers have already gotten a taste of what Nvidia might be cooking. With the GB10 super chip powering Nvidia Spark systems, oh my god, its customized variant for Asus, Gigabyte, MSI, and other companies. Let's see what the benchmarks are. Single core, he got 3,096. Multi-core, we got 18,837. The system information, they did Ubuntu. Okay, so, yeah. So basically, that's a cell phone. Ubuntu. Why are they going to use an operating system with the cell phone? I'm going to critique this. This I'm definitely going to critique. Oh, yeah. Ubuntu. Oh, my God. Nvidia N1X. Motherboard was an HP. You know what HP stands for? Hewlett Packard. Guess what? HP 8EA3. So this is a HP EA3. So let's do this. Let's see if we can pull it up. HP, what did I say? HP EA3. So HP EA3. Did it? 8. My God. I am just not with it right now, guys. I don't know why I'm not with it. E8EA. Give me a minute. Okay, so that's what it is. Motherboard specifications. All right, I'll accept it. It's the Moria 3 specifications. Oh, wrong one. But it's still Hewlett Packard, HP. Because that's what's coming up. Guys, I'm going to find it. I am going to find it. Well, I guess it's not totally created and hidden just yet, but anyway. Sorry I had to do that, guys. I had to double check. We all know it's going to be a Hewlett Packard product. It's going to be a Dell product. And they say they're bringing it for desktops. This is just making me cringe a little bit now. Especially when they're saying this is the motherboard. No. If they're going to bring it to the desktop community, then the first thing they need to do, you know, guys, you know what? You need to tell them this. I'm trying to tell them this. This is not going to work. This right here is not going to work. They're using the ARM V8. One processor. Look at that. One core, 20 threads. One core. That's not going to work. If you're thinking that's bringing us back to the day of the single core processors in the early 90s. The late 80s, early 90s. Single core processor. That's basically what it's sounding like right here. So its memory size is 119.59 gigabytes. That's nothing new. They give a little story about this and all the benchmarkings and all that. But you know what I got? I got my own. I dug deep. I got my own right here. So, since I dug deep and I got my own, now we can see what we're dealing with. A 3nm chip for Apple that's 16 cores. This is Apple ARM chip. Where they show over here the M4 getting a lot of juice. So the M4 beats out Nvidia and the rest. So AMD, Apple and AMD are right there at the top. Somewhat. In single core performance, yes. Multi-core performance, no. That's where it's big deal. So, guys, we can look at that all day. I can look at what we got. Okay, let's go down the Apple line. We got an ARM v 9.4a, 3 nanometer process. It's got 16 cores. It's got 12 P cores and it's got 4 E cores. Base clock is 4.52 gigahertz. That's what they're quoting. Not sure about the boost clock. We'll have to work on that. Geekbench 6, it gets 3,986. Multi-core gets 26,190. Its supported memory is 128 gigabytes of LPDDR5X laptop memory. Memory bandwidth is 546 gigabits per second. Gigabytes, whatever. Its integrated GPU is 34.08 T-flops. INT8. Wow. Imagine if that was INT4. AI engine, it has 38 tops. Guys, Microsoft requires 40 tops. It's 2 tops short of the requirements for Copilot plus PC. Right there, 2 tops short. And you know, if you did have the Apple M4 Max and it did have 40 tops, I would be hell-bent to try to see if the Microsoft operating system work as the same as that. But I know it's not. I know it's not. I know it's not. But let's move on. AMD Ryzen AI Max 395. It's a Zen 5 processor, 4 nanometers. It's got 16 cores. That means it's got 8 P core, 8 E cores, 32 threads. Wow. That's going to be a good one. This must be the Zen 5. I thought it was Zen 6. No, it's Zen 5. We'll have to work on the Zen 6. Zen 6 is supposed to be a little bit better. So we got the base and boost. We got 3 gigahertz on the base, and we got 5.1 gigahertz on the boost. No. Geekbench 6. The single core is 2,968. Let's do a little bit of math. Let's do a little bit of math. Since we got the calculator right here, we might as well do a little bit of math. And let's look at the single core right here. Let's look at the 3,986 and we minus it from the 2,968. What's the difference? 1,018 cores. Or no, the score, 1,018 different. That's not too bad. So, now we're going from Apple to AMD. Let's finish off the AMD. So, Geekbench 6 multi-core is 20,613. Memory support looks like it's 128 of gigabytes of LPDDR5X. Looks like it's 8,000 megahertz microtransfers on AMD, and it's Apple is 8,533 microtransfers. 256 gigabytes of memory bandwidth. Integrated GPU has 59.39 T flops, INT8. It's bigger than Apple. Wow. And it's got 50 tops. Now let's look at the power consumption. There's only a 10-watt difference between the two. 10-watt difference. That's not bad at all. That is not bad at all. Okay, now it's time to talk about the leaked Nvidia N1X CPU. Hopefully you guys are sticking with me. This is going to get good. Trust me, it's going to get good. This is where, you know, you're going to pull a rabbit hat. Looks like the cores and threads is 20 and 20 for Nvidia. You got 20 cores. It says 20 cores, but it doesn't give me the total breakdown. But we'll go through that, I'm sure, in the future. It's got a base clock of 2.81 gigahertz. Its boost clock, we don't know yet because it's not out. Geekbench 6, it pulls 3096 on the single, 18,837 on the multi, and it does 128 gigabytes of LPDDR5X. But we don't know what frequency it's going to be at right now, so we'll have to work on that. Memory bandwidth is 256 gigabits or gigabytes or whatever per second estimated. They're still not sure on the integrated GPU. They're still working on that. But coming down to, we don't know what kind of AI engine it's going to have, and the TDP looks like 120 watts. Now, the thing is, this chart, I put this chart together. The reason why I put the chart together is because I wanted you guys to get an idea of what's going on here. Because obviously there's something more going on than you can see. Now, I added, because I see Apple, I see AMD, I see Nvidia, but in the charts I didn't see Intel. I wonder why. But I added them in anyway. So I'm not going to be the mean guy. I'm going to be the nice guy. You know, I'm going to show everybody the difference. So let's go up to Intel Xeon E2436 CPU. It's got the Raptor Lake S x86 10 nanometer. I know you guys are going to say, well, you're going from 3 to 4 to 10. Yeah, I know. It's all over the place. Difference between the N1X and the Xeon. This is where I really measured it. The cores and threads. You got over here 6 core 12 threads, and you got 20 cores. Oh. And the difference in the base and boost, Intel Xeon E2436 gets 2.9 gigahertz on the base, 5.0 gigahertz on the boost. This is a I think it's over 2 years old on this processor. You guys are going to be amazed about this processor. I just learned about it today, and I was like, there's something wrong that they're hiding this processor, especially if it's going for around $400 or $500. What are they hiding? Intel, why are you hiding this? Especially with this processor being, never mind, we'll get to it. I'm not gonna bust the excitement. But on Geekbench 6, this processor right here being 2 years old or more gets 3,572 on single core compared to Nvidia's so-called leaked processor, 3,096. Hello, machine. Good to see you, my friend. Good to see you. Hey, chicken. Good to see you, man. Hi, Jay. Do you think x86 CPUs will fade away by the year 2030? Excuse me. Or will AMD and Intel keep manufacturing them? Well, you know, truthfully, ARM processor has not reached the level for gaming. Honesty. It has not reached that level yet. Everybody's looking at Apple's M4 compared to AMD's 9800X3D, but they should be looking at the 9950X3D or the 9900X3D. Okay, if they looked at those chips, compared it to Apple's M4, AMD's already took the top. We know this. First, it's dying. I don't think it's going to die that soon. How long has it been? Almost 4 decades, maybe more. On Intel processor alone. AMD processor is not that long, but you know, it's not going to die that soon. How low do you think they're really going to go? How low do you really think that margin's going to go down? They can't go below 2 nanometers without running into quantum physics. They can't, I mean, pushing it to 1.4 nanometer is a lot. And hoping that it doesn't reach into the quantum physics realm, which that's 0.5 nanometers. If they get it that close, then they're going to be running into instability problems. I doubt they have anything that's going to come up with a solution for x86 or even ARM processor. There's not really a solution, because once you get down that far, that's it. You can't go any further. It's all software, guys. It's going to be all software. When they get down to the lowest they can on the nanometer process, that's it. It's all software. And how many transistors they shove onto the GPU or the CPU or GPU die, that's pretty what it's going to be. So that's the end game until quantum physics and quantum processors come out. There's really not much more they can do. I mean, you can't push it any further unless you start doubling up on the processors. I mean, there's really not much more. Hello there, Brain Dead. Good to see you, man. Thank you very much. Liking that coverage. ARM equals server load. Well, believe it or not, it could. It could, if it's pushed the right way with the right software. You can make it equal. And I'm just showing you guys the difference between a server processor and an ARM processor. I know you guys, that's where that's going, but the thing is this: if a server processor is doing better than Nvidia's so-called CPU child, I'll stick with x86 for a little bit longer. How about that? I'm going by the reports, doing my homework, seeing what's going on, knowing how this is going to work. So, guys, let me slide my head out of the way. There we go. Put myself at the top of the chart. I forgot you had that little subscribe button. Don't forget to press that subscribe button. Right there, that little red subscribe button. Don't forget to hit it. But anyway, let me get back to what we were talking about. I haven't paid attention since my Threadripper 1900X first gen. Yeah, things have changed. Gaming still on top with x86. Yep, pretty much it is, yes, pretty much. Quantum computers will start to appear. In the next 15 years. The problem, guys, the problem is cooling solution. They don't have a resolution for the cooling solution. It has to be below the temperatures of space. You know, like Earth, and you got space and how cold it is. It's colder than that running that processor. You really think we're going to stick that in our PC? Hell no. It ain't going to happen anytime soon. So, that's something to think about. The smaller the transistor gets, the harder it works. If it gets down to a grain, they're trying to make it smaller than a grain of sand. Trying to make a whole transistor smaller than a grain of sand. It's almost impossible. So, I am a bit new to computer tech. Well, welcome to the PC world. Welcome to my channel, by the way. What benefits do smaller nanometer processors have? I'll answer that question right now. The reason that you make it smaller is because you fit more onto the substrate die. You have a certain size square die. Let me see, where did I put that other one? Okay, this, all right, hold on, we'll get there. Okay, this is a this is a, let's just say this is a GPU die, but we know it's a CPU die. Okay, it's got certain parameters that's on here that you can put so many transistors, you got to put your controllers and stuff, you got to put a bunch of stuff on here. Okay, there's bunches of stuff. But if you got the transistor that's too big, taking up a lot of room, then you don't have enough room to advance and put more power to it. You would have to make this twice the size. You'd have to make this twice the size in order to have enough transistors to match up with the 50 series. You would have to have this 2 times the size in order to put enough transistors that they do on the GPU for the 50 series. They have to be twice this size. Actually, 2.5 times more this size. So that's the reason why they're making it smaller, because they can compact more transistors onto it. So the more transistors they can get onto it, the more performance they can get out of it. That's their logic. So, I subscribed and liked. Thank you for subscribing and liking. I do appreciate it. So, why do they keep going smaller? They keep going smaller is because if they don't have any more room for performance. Basically, they don't want to make the die itself bigger. They're trying to make it smaller. They're trying to make things more compact. Okay, like something like, let's say something like this. Okay, something like this right here. They want to be able to make a GPU die that's smaller than what's on here. What's on this right here. Right now, they're really big. I mean, they're like, I'm exaggerating a little bit, but they're pretty big. So They want to try to make it smaller and more compact so they can get more performance packed on there. I don't know how much more smaller they can go. I don't even know how much more smaller they can go, truthfully. So, oh, I see. Why don't they just increase the size of it to fit the transistors? Well, going back to the old days, back into the 50s and the 60s and the 70s, where the transistor was this big. This big. And it was strung on a wire like this. They had millions of them strung on a wire, transistors, for the space shuttle. Those days are over. Your telephone has more transistors than they do on the space shuttle. You know? It's crazy. Your phone alone could control the whole space shuttle, basically. If they make it bigger, it's going to put out more heat. They want to try to make it small enough to minimize the heat. But finding out that's not going to work neither. Because the smaller you make an item, the hotter it gets. This is the reason why Nvidia with the 50 series, they took away the hotspot temperature sensor. Is because they needed extra room, so they took out the hotspot temperature sensor and they put something else in that place, and they moved the architecture around a little bit just to get a little bit more power out of the 50 series. So oh wow, bro, you have enlightened me with information I never knew of. Thank you, sir. Oh, you're welcome. Anytime, anytime. I've been doing this for over 3 decades. And, you know, I might look like an old guy to everybody with glasses and everything else, but it's the knowledge. That's what matters the most. And I've always, when I first started my YouTube channel, I've told myself, I've watched all the reviewers and stuff like that, and I'm like, I've had enough. There's things that they don't talk about on YouTube to give people the right information, I think. That's just my opinion. That's just my opinion. Oh, thanks, Machine. Yes, you're old. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. No, but the point is this. You don't, if they're not giving you the right information, then you're not going to understand how your PC works. And Machine will tell you, I've done reared him around. He was around when I first started, close to when I first started, but you know, after time he caught on to it. He got it. He was stuck in a spot to where he didn't even want to touch his computer. You know, computers won't break. Guys, they will not break. The only way they'll break is if you break it. So, well, you're welcome anytime, man. Anytime. Your opinion is a fact, in my opinion. Thanks. Okay, let's get back to this Nvidia N1X. We're going to go back to the action screen. And when I say the action screen, guys, this is the action screen. We go back to this action screen here. So, and we got the big cursor like usual. But do you see the problem where they got this? Even Geekbench 6 tells me that this 2-year-old processor is going to be faster than Nvidia's new CPU. CPU to CPU, you got right here, you got a server processor compared to a gaming CPU or a business CPU or a machine learning CPU. We don't know yet, but I can tell you the way the benchmark looks, that this Intel Xeon E2436 with 6 core 12 thread looks a lot better than a 20 core. You get my point? That's the whole point. This is an Intel processor. Intel. And it's beating the pants off of Nvidia's new CPU. I don't get it. And guess what? They both got 128 gigabytes, but this one's got DDR5 at 4800 megahertz, which we know this right here will go up to, if you push it right, you could probably get it to 7,000 megahertz. You could probably get this processor here to 7,000 megahertz if you do it right. But look at the memory bandwidth. It's not that bad. This is 256 gigabytes. This is dual channel, 76.8 gigabytes. And it's beating the pants off of their Geekbench 6 scores. Guys, look it up for yourself. This is no joke. This is real. No integrated graphics. And this CPU will do AI as well, from what I'm reading. And it does 65 watts on the PL1, and it does 148 watts on the PL2. So, it's not a bad processor. It's not a bad processor at all. So, I don't think it's bad at all. Nvidia, on the other hand, I don't know what they're going to do about this, because it's not going to be for a gaming PC. And that's what everybody wanted to know. Is it going to be for a gaming PC? No. Sorry to say that, break y'all's hearts. Nvidia's making a CPU that's for machine learning. They haven't touched on the realm of the gaming series yet. They can make a good graphics card for gaming, but when it comes to CPUs, they're best off to leave it to the pros, like AMD or Intel. They're best to leave it to the pros. There are so many drawbacks and disadvantages with certain products that you don't know of until you're probably buying it. Exactly. You don't know. I do this every day. I do this 7 days a week. This is my job. This is my life. This is what I do. I'm here permanent on YouTube. This is my job. So, I do understand what you're saying. I really do. Sorry guys, I'm bending down to read because my glasses, I need new glasses. These are 4 years old and I got to get new ones. Then you find some random niche posted on Reddit that someone else found the same problem. That is my kind of learning. Guys, chicken machine, listen. The whole point of me bringing this up, everybody thinks that Sparks is going to be the best in the world. That Sparks, PC that they're building, it's not what you think it is. Okay, that's not the intentions of what Jensen wanted to do. Jensen's making an AI PC, not gaming PC. two different things. What do you think Microsoft is doing with the AI tops? Tera operations per second tops? What do you think they're trying to do? They're trying to take everybody's x86 PCs and give y'all the big middle finger and tell y'all you better go buy a Copilot Plus PC. If you don't, you're not going to get an operating system update. Smell the coffee. Look at how high the water is getting. Think about it. They're trying to tell everybody this. They're giving everybody a time limit. Everybody, we're all on a time limit. And they just gave it to us. Because after October of this year, we're losing Windows 10 and we're losing Windows 11 23H2. So whoever's on 23H2, you better jump over on 24H2 because you're going to be losing that. So there is a 25H2, but why is Microsoft going to 25H2? Why ain't they going to jump to Windows 12? Rumor has it Copilot Plus PC is Windows 12. That is going to be Windows 12. And that Microsoft's going to go cloud-based. So you wonder how long x86 has to live? Well, look, we have open source Linux. They have many distros, operating systems, distros. They have many of them. So on x86, we're not going to lose. Except for maybe if it's Nvidia, if they don't get their act together with Linux, we might lose it altogether. But as far as with Microsoft, Microsoft's trying to they're working their way out of the software industry. They're working their way into cloud basing. That's where they're making most of their money right now. You really think they're making money off of product keys for your operating system? Hell no. That's the reason why they got these CDK deal, kind of websites. Because they're just selling off the keys that they got. Once things are gone, they're gone. And if they take Copilot Plus PC cloud-based, PC gaming's over with. It's over with. Especially when you can only get your games through the Microsoft Store. There's a lot of people that's going to be pissed over this. I see the writing on the wall. I hope that I'm wrong. But what if I'm right? I've already seen the writing on the wall. And x86, yes, it's almost at its expiration point. They need to come up with something new. What they should have done back years ago was, instead of 64-bit back 8 years ago, they should have went to 128-bit on the processor. 128-bit. Instead of 64, go up to 128. They didn't do that because they didn't have the processor that was able to run 64 times 2. But I'll tell you what, in the early 90s they had enough to run 32 times 2 to make a 64. They could do the same thing when it comes to the x86. They can turn it into a 128-bit CPU and move up the rank. So that means everything would start all over again, right down to square one and coming right back up to the top. So that means they could take and refresh their whole line of CPUs and change the x86 to X128. It's their choice. They want to do it. That's their choice. So, even the 5090 was focused a lot on productivity. They said that before it launched. They said that before it launched. The 5090 and the 5080 were based upon AI learning. It was based upon content creating. It wasn't really based upon gaming. They said this way back. You guys can go look it up. They said it way back. That your 5070 and below was going to be your gaming GPUs. Those were going to be the gamers. But the other ones were going to be for content creating and AI learning, machine learning. Nobody caught on to that. That's the reason why they took PhysX 32-bit off of all 50 series. Because they're using it for machine learning. It's obvious. They don't need PhysX 32-bit on it because they're not using older, nobody's playing the older games anymore. Some people do. And that's the reason why I got a 40 series it's the reason why I got a 40 series GPU. That's the number one fact. When I heard they were removing PhysX before they launched the 5090, I was like, I'll stay right where I'm at. I didn't know if it was a rumor back then, but I didn't know if it was true or not, but it came true, and I was like, damn. .40 series is better for productivity. When it comes to your gaming and live streaming, your 40 series is a better graphics card. You might be looking for that golden silicon, for the power in the sky, the golden silicon. Stop looking for it. You're not going to find it. Nobody's going to find it, because as long as they keep giving us grade 3 silicon, we're never going to find the golden silicon. That's the reason why I didn't shoot for grabbing a 50 series graphics card. Or even over on AMD, it's 9060 XT. I didn't feel like grabbing that neither. Or none of the 9000 series. Because you got AMD over there pushing too much power to its silicon, and you got Nvidia over here using its software to boost the performance of its GPU. It's crazy backwards. So, gaming was only 30% better than 4090, though. I think it would get too hard to squeeze more without putting out more unsafe wattage than smaller nanometer. Yeah, well, it's either they go one way or the other. If you go smaller nanometer, then you can put more transistors on, and the more transistors you can add on, that just means more heat. That just means more power, like you said. More power draw. You got servers, PC servers that are pulling 500 to almost 1,000 watts. Okay. On the other hand, you got, what do you got? You got Nvidia pulling close to 700 watts. Overclocked. It's almost pulling up to the amount of a PC server. It's crazy. Braindad says, I'm stuck on 8 gigabyte LOL. Nothing wrong with that, brother. Nothing wrong with 8 gigabytes, because you know what? Even on my 4070, I still use 6 gigabytes of VRAM. How I play my games? 1080p. What do I do on my games? I play my games. Do they look great? Yeah. No artifacting, no stuttering. Am I happy with it? Yeah. End of story. That's how you look at it. If you're happy with it and they work with your games, then go with it. 8 gigabytes of VRAM, it's not a sin. Especially with things now these days being, well, let's get a 16 gigabyte 9060 XT for $600. It's coming. We know it. I'm okay gaming a little slow. I just want that larger VRAM so I can load some more AI models. I got you. I hear you there. I mean, there are some people that are still rocking with what the GTX, is it GT or GTX 980, something like that. But they're running like 2 of them or 3 of them at the same time. I don't know, but they're rocking with it. They are rocking with it, so it's all good. Oh, thank you, Dakota. You're the man. You're the man. Linux time. Yes, you're right. It is definitely Linux time. Thank you for this. Thank you for those little soldiers you just handed to me. I do appreciate it, brother. When Jensen said 5070 equals 4090 performance, that was machine learning. That was machine learning. I bet you that's where he was going with it, because there's no other way it could do it. He can't do it on gaming, not unless it's machine learning. That's why I think it is. I let out the biggest sigh of disappointment because how gullible people are. Yeah, I'm not gullible. I just tell the facts, not fiction. Simple as that. Not here in California, my friend. I don't know where you're coming from with that. At $20 would be enough to put 4.29 gallons of gas in your car. Believe it or not. Oh, guys, did you hear about the 5090? That I don't know if you heard this, but I'm going to spread it again. It seems Micro Center got a bunch of 5090s from China, but it found out that they got a can of sardines with some man bags. They got they didn't get no 5090s. They got a pallet full of how can you say this? Clothing wear. So, think about it. Somebody goes home with their box that's supposed to be a 5090. You know those 2 man bags that dude had, there is no way that weighs the same amount as a 5090. And you can tell the difference. You're telling me that when they went to shop for it, get this, the salesperson picks it up and couldn't tell the difference between the weight of the 2. You can tell the weight on the box. My God. Lifting up the box of a 59 is like lifting bricks. You got about a 4 or 5 pound brick compared to like a 1.5 pounds of man bags. That's crazy. Am I wrong? Tell me when I'm wrong. You can tell the difference between the 2. Pick up your graphics card. Pick up your wife's purse. Empty. Empty. Okay, thank you. So you can tell the difference. 5090s from China. What did Microspectre, Alibaba, got them good? Yeah, believe it or not, they thought they were getting a cheap deal, but obviously they were getting a really cheap deal for a very expensive price. Because if we look at the 5090 being how much? $3,500? Let's just say $3,500. And they ordered, what was it? 80 of them? Yeah, it was 80. $280,000. Guys. I don't know. That's a little bit steep for my blood. So, I want you to really think about that. I mean, seriously think about it. I mean, $280,000 screwed out of. Micro Center's not happy, I'll guarantee you that. Long gone are the days of getting a flagship GPU. I agree. Chicken, I do agree. That day's done and gone. Because you know, it might be once in a blue, you might get Nvidia or AMD or Intel that might make a Founders Edition. Might. But we all know there is no such thing as MSRP. MSRP, I'm going to tell you guys again, was built for factory to AIB partners. That means like Asus, MSI, Gigabyte, and ASRock have a bottom line. They have a bottom line. Because the factory wants to be able to sell cards at MSRP to give something back to the community. So they told them like this: AIB partners, you cannot sell below the MSRP because guess what? That's reserved for us doing Founders Editions. So you can sell above it, but not below it. So MSRP was only designed for the Founders Edition cards. Everything else is willy-nilly. But back then, you had, what, a couple years ago, about a year ago, Nvidia had a clamp on the AIB partners to have them sell at a certain price. And they had no other choice but to sell at that certain price. But what Nvidia did was they said, okay, partners, you're free. Anything that's above MSRP, go for it. So now they're going willy-nilly on the prices and people ain't buying it. Their cards are going to slow down to a stop, and as long as they sit on the shelves of those suppliers, guess what's going to happen? They're losing money every 30 days because they're sitting on the shelf. They're taking up space. They got to pay for that stock space. So guess what? It's taking up space. It's burning the shelves. It's burning money. So if it sits there 6 months, they've done lost 6 whole months just sitting on the shelves. They can't do it. They lose money after that. So what they know they got to do is they got to get down to the bottom line and say, guess what? We're going to have to sell these cards just a little bit above MSRP in order to get them off the shelf. Because if not, we're going to lose money. They know this. Everybody should know this being a consumer. If you let it burn on their shelves, guess what happens? Price goes down and down and down and down, comes down close to MSRP. Every time. Every time. Been doing this 3 decades, watching the same song and dance. So, That just bringing it down to that bottom line. They make their money anyway. They can sell their graphics cards $50 above MSRP. They still make their money because they're only paying, like, what, 1/4 of the price? They're still making 2/4 off of the GPUs. They're making their money. AMD partners are making their money. Retailers are making their money. They're just jacking it up because of greed. Seriously. Let's see. Sorry, guys, I was ducked down a little bit. That margin, yep. I'm just playing the waiting game. I don't blame you there, Brain. I do not blame you at all. I told everybody from the time that they stopped selling their major cards, like when they put out their new generation, after that, 6 to 8 months after that, guess what? Price comes down. Why? Because nobody's buying them. Why? Because you got reviewers over here telling the whole world that they suck. So everybody looks at the graphics card, just like they did the 4070. You know how many times they said to everybody, it sucks. It's not a card to buy. How many times have you heard that? I haven't. It doesn't suck, trust me. It's well beyond it. My 4070's paid for everything 3 times over. The amount of videos I made with my 4070 because of AV1 encoding, and also too the live streaming, very, very, very sweet on live streaming. Live streaming is like a gem right now. It's running nice and smooth. I don't have no problems whatsoever. I'm like y'all. I wait the time. I'm just like you all. I wait the time. Because I'm looking for that one card that's going to catch my eye again. The 4070 caught my eye. And that's the reason why I got it. Now there's going to be that next big thing when it comes to graphics cards. And it's going to be at that low price. And it's going to be for quite a while. And when it does, that's going to be the card that everybody's going to want. Look at how many 4070s they actually sold. They had to actually start a new line of 4070s. The ones without the 6X, the GDR6X, they had to do the GDR6 because they ran out of the 6X. So now they had to do the 6. And they did that for quite a while. Why did they push the 70 class so hard like they did? That's got me wondering. And now it's moved up to the 80, I think. Let me think about that. I still say that the 70 class, between the 70 and 60 class, there's something there. But not this generation. 50 series, not this generation. I just don't like the outcome of the way AMD handled the 70s, their 9000 series, and the way Nvidia handled their 50 series. I really don't like the way they handled it. They could have done better. They could have done better, guys. Quick look. I see some 16 gigabytes for under $400. That's been going for the last 4 or 5 days. Yeah, you're right. There is some cards for $400 or less. The price is going to come down. Just got to sit tight. They're not going to discontinue it right away. You got to sit tight and wait for the price to come down and down and down. That's what I'm waiting for. Christmas and Black Friday specials. Yep, exactly. That's the best time to buy. Turn around, they give you MSRP price at Black Friday. Makes no sense. They give you MSRP price at Black Friday. Or Cyber Monday. They might do that. Who knows? Christmas time, every one of those companies are Grinches. Look at last year, last Christmas. What did they put out? Nothing but coal. The only one that put out for Christmas was Intel. Unbelievable. So, what specs do you have, sir? Do you game? Yes, I do game. I got Cyberpunk from Machine and Control from Machine. You know, he contributed to the channel, and I do appreciate him for that. And you got Dakota that donated a couple games to the channel. You know, I just go with the flow. That's all I'm going to tell you. I go with the flow. So. But what's $600, Machine? You didn't tell me what's $600 there, brother. ASRock Challenger 9070 60 gigabyte for $600. Oh, because it's got 4 more gigabytes than my card, but they're selling it at the same price. Okay. But you know, with all the wheeling and dealing I did with my card, I got it down to $100. So they're not going to beat that. Guarantee it. Who has the time? Question mark. There's so much to do in the world. I gamed less, but you bought more now. Okay. All right, I can agree with that. Cheapest you've seen. Yeah, well, sometimes Machine, like I said, the prices change every second. Graphics card price, all PC parts, they change within like this, seconds. That's all you hear is seconds. That's the reason why, you know, I get 5 hours of sleep a day. You know, I'm either on the road with my phone, checking my phone, seeing what the prices are. You know, all PC parts I'm going through all day long doing this. Day and night, looking at the prices. It's just, and I got to keep up with all the videos and live streams and everything else. And yeah, it gets crazy. Hello there, Jack. Welcome to the channel. ARM's supposed to superiorly. It's not going to be superior. Not yet. It's not there. But when it comes to energy efficiency, it's a myth. Yeah, that's true. Okay. I'm going to explain something to you guys, and I want you to understand this. You have control of the amount of energy you want to use with your CPU, your GPU, everything on inside your PC. You have the control to cut it down. You have the control to put a cap on everything you do on your PC. You even have the control to put a cap on it in your Windows operating system to bring down the power. If you got a PC to where it's overclockable or your whole PC's unlocked, then the thing is this: you can bring down the power level and still get great performance with great gameplay and not pay that astronomical price of everybody trying to scare you to buy something you don't need. And I'm trying to teach everybody this. Don't buy stuff you don't need. Somebody says to me the other day, oh, I want to go get me one of those new big finagle $1,000 motherboards. What was it? I can't remember. It's a Asus motherboard. I think it's over $1,000 or something like that. I said, yeah, you go get that big old motherboard. But you know what's going to happen? I'm gonna take my $165 motherboard and still match what you're doing on your motherboard. No difference. I shake my head every time somebody says that to me. Oh, because I could do a little bit of tweaking this and this and this. It does not matter. The basic principles of every motherboard, they're all the same. Only difference is between Intel and AMD. Different architectures. Hate to break that news. I've seen the stats. It's ARM and TSMC propaganda to push x86 out of the market. Yeah, which that is true. I do agree with that. Not to say x86 is in the best state. Well, if they would to do something that was astronomical like this, let me give you a good idea. If they were to take the bus width and double it and move it up to the next level, you know how fast the CPUs are going to be? And you can go back to 10 nanometer and do a 10 nanometer and have a double bus width. Instead of doing 64-bit bus, do a 128-bit bus. Get Microsoft off their catootie to build a new operating system with the 128-bit bus. You want to know how fast that's going to be? A lot faster than what we're dealing with right now. That means everybody has to do a whole new architecture. Whole new architecture. Brand new architecture. They will not attempt that. No, they rather attempt quantum processing. Other than changing the bit process on the bus bandwidth and make it stronger. They make that stronger, it's going to make games a lot stronger. It's going to make your CPU a lot stronger, and it's going to make your GPU work harder. Simple. But they don't do that. They don't understand that. People think, well, because it's only got a 64-bit bus, it can't do that much. It doesn't matter. If your operating system is not running your games at 100%, because your bus width keeps choking every 5 seconds because it can't keep up with the amount of processing, then that means your bandwidth is way off. That means you don't have enough bandwidth. So increase the bandwidth, get more power from your CPU to put more power into your GPU to give you more gaming power to have better FPS with no stuttering, even on 8 gigabytes of VRAM. If you change the bandwidth, make it higher, that'll complement the 8 gigabytes of VRAM. They don't do that. They choke the VRAM by lowering the bandwidth, the bus bandwidth, from 256-bit down to 128-bit on the graphics card. So if they would have left it at 256-bit and the PCIe lanes at X16, then the 5060 wouldn't be so bad of a card. But they didn't do that. It's just that they choked it right there at the knees. Simple. They could have fixed it. They didn't. See, it's profit. Everything's about profit. It's not about the community. If it was about the community, then they would have used their brain and said, okay, well, let's give something back. I almost thought they were giving something back to the community, these companies. They weren't giving nothing back to the community. They weren't giving them lower prices, and they weren't giving them better performance. Price to performance, it doesn't matter. You can listen to somebody on their channel talk about price to performance all day long, But if you go look on Amazon, Newegg, and these channels that sell graphics cards and all that, you're not going to see that. You're not going to see price to performance. People need to realize that. You're not going to see price to performance no matter who's telling you the price to performance. They can say, okay, today the price to performance is that AMD's getting 5% more than Nvidia on their graphics cards. Next day, guess what? Nvidia's getting more price to performance than AMD. Then it goes back and forth. No, AMD's getting it. Then Nvidia. It goes back and forth. You get confused. Stop the confusion. Reviewers have to understand this. Stop the confusion. Stop the confusion. Because when people go onto the market and they look at the prices, it's way different than the prices they're giving. Because when they make their videos, it's about a week old. Their videos are made a week old. This is the reason why my videos are made the same day. I'm not making mine a week old. Mine are made the same day, so you get that market price when I give it to you. That same day market price. You don't get a week old market price. And if you watch the other people doing the review, their reviewing channels, you'll see that some of them have videos that come out that are a week later, from a week ago to now. And get out of here with that. I can't stand when people do that. Yeah, machine, thank you. Yeah, it's godlike. Yeah. So, some AIBs do not let you control the power on the GPUs. Well, there's a way around that too, you know. It's called a potentiometer. As I worked on, you know, repairing radios, TVs, and stuff like that, you can take and go onto the power section of a GPU. You can take, and on the back of the case, I had to grab one of these. See, now if it was like one of those regular GPUs that got the extra space, I would drill a hole that's on there. I would put a controllable potentiometer right there with a wide span, going from, at least give you enough, going from kilo ohms to ohms, giving you enough of that bandwidth to where you can take and trick the power section of your GPU to thinking it's getting less power, and to up the power by 25%. Does it work? Yeah, it does. Does it hurt the GPU? Does it degrade the GPU? Yeah, it does. That's what they don't tell you. I mean, you guys want to know what the honesty part about this is? There's the honesty part. It's just like when you had that I'm just going to say one reviewer. I'm not going to say the reviewers' names because I'm not going to take and slam them like that. And they were doing a live show, and they said, well, you take a resistor, you drop it over the top of this resistor, and you can get more power, more wattage out of your GPU. Okay. Well, we're all not running refrigerant that's colder than space itself and putting it on top of our GPUs or our CPUs. And we're not testing like that, because that right there, no, very few people do it. It's dangerous to do that. That's why I don't do it on my channel. I might one day, I might freeze my hand off doing it. Who knows? So, I don't want to freeze my hand off. Chicken says I undervolt everything I have without much performance loss. No, well, when you undervolt, you'll lose 5% on one end, but you'll gain 5% on another. So undervolting, you're still going to get the performance, but you're just going to be losing a lot of the heat that's coming off of your CPU and your GPU. It's going to run crisp and cool, but what people don't understand is if your CPU or GPU is thermal throttling, which your GPU die can, because it always runs 10 degrees hotter than the actual temperature of the GPU die. The hotspot always runs 10 degrees hotter. And that's always been a rule of thumb. So if you got a 50 series GPU, you could be running between 10 and 11 degrees hotter. If, let's say, you hit 80 degrees on a 50 series GPU, you're pushing your limits a little past 90 degrees Celsius on the hotspot. So I really wouldn't take it that far. Now, undervolting's always been a thing with me, and I've always loved to do it. So yeah, I agree with you. Better try to stay safe and reliable rather than put the pedal to the metal. Yeah. It's like the tortoise. It's like the tortoise and the hare. Who always wins? The tortoise. Because the tortoise outsmarts the hare. Which one gets there faster? Think about it. Good analogy, though. Another problem with the 5090 was the connectors melting. Well, you know the reason why that happened is because what Nvidia did with their graphics cards was told their partners like this: you got one positive incoming and you got one negative outgoing. So they took and bridged it like this. I'm going to do it like this. They bridged it like this and put positive lines on one side, negative lines on the other. But they're sitting there running it at 22 gauge wire, each one of them. And it's not equaling up to the total amount of gauge of copper you need in order to run those cards. And yeah, they're going to melt. When you use something close to tin foil for a connector, you know, I'll tell you what, the best connector you can ever find are these right here. These are the best connectors you'll ever find, for the simple fact is inside they are thicker than the connectors on that 12 volt high power. 4 of these will equal up to all 12 of those. 4 of these connectors will equal to all 12 of those. It's a joke. That connector is a novelty connector. It's a money maker for them, because the more that burns up, the more money they get. The more it burns up, the more money they get. So, yeah. You guys don't think they're not making money. They're making money hand over fist. So, yeah, 600 watts through that connector, chicken, is not a good idea. And even a technician from Gigabyte has said the maximum you ever want to put on that connector is 375 watts, period. That's it. 375 watts. End of story. The rating on it's all off. The most you ever want to put on that connector is 375 watts. So, that's just give you an idea of where you need to be on that. So, spending $3,500 on a GPU that you have to baby and still have problem is so annoying. That's the reason why I got a 4070, man. That's the reason why I got a 4070. Is because of that. I don't have to worry about that high-end crap. I don't have to worry about that 12-volt high-power crap. Because if I remember right, I only got an 8-pin connector on my 4070. 8-pin. That's it. I don't have to worry about that connector. This one's never melted. And I'm going over 2+ years with this connector. 8-pin, 8-pin connector on this graphics card. And I have already hit this over at 200 watts. I don't see a problem. Ohm's laws. Yes, sir. Ohm's laws. All grounds were one side with 3 positives and 3 negatives on the other side. Actually, it was supposed to be at the time, it was supposed to be 6 and 6 with four connectors reserved for the link from the power supply, in order to turn the graphics card on and off for connection. 4 of them were supposed to be for ground links, and there's 6 of them supposed to be the hot side, and 6 of them supposed to be for the ground. That's the way it was supposed to be split up. And I know, I checked, I have one of those 12-volt high-power connectors here. I took my multimeter and I checked every one of the lines. And like I said, it's 6 and 6. It's only 12. You're only getting 12 connections. You're only getting 12 links. Let's say 3 of these. That right there. This right here is equal to 300 watts of power. These 2 right here are equal to 300 watts of power. So you need 4 of those Molex connectors in order to get a decent 600 watts. 4 of those. Because these are built for hard drives. They pull a lot of power. At the end of the day, they pull a lot of juice. So, back in the day, oh, sorry, I got an itch, guys. Ugh. Oh, damn. Hello, MTBK, good to see you, man. So, I put 420 watts through it yesterday. How do I tell if I damaged something? Just look for the smoke. Take a flashlight, look at the connector. If it handles at 400 watts, you're fine. Best way I can tell you, I wouldn't push it over 400 watts. I know it sucks, but if it's 4090, I wouldn't push it over 400 watts. It does just as good at stock than running it over the clock, I think. So it's up to you if you want to do that or not, but me, I would never push it that hot. So that's just being honest with you guys. You guys want to know the truth about it. I wouldn't go over 400 watts with that connector. That connector couldn't even run a 1200 watt amplifier for a car stereo. Listen to what I said. That's 2 8-gauge wires. That's 1200 watts. So they should have been using 10 gauge wire for a hot in the ground to that graphics card. 10 gauge. At least you have a chance with that being around 800 watts. 10 gauge will get you around 800 watts. 10 gauge will get you around 800. 8 gauge will get you around 1200. So, all right, that's it. I'm checking my connectors soon on my PSU and GPU side. Then putting even a low power limit. Checking mine set on stock. I game just fine. I don't see, guys, you have to understand, you want things to last a long time. Here's a little helpful hint for you. One, don't beat the hell out of it trying to pull every ounce of power out of it. You're killing the silicon. And more times you do that, the less your FPS will start dropping like crazy. And then you'll start running into blue screening, black screening, or whatever. And then you'll start running into issues to where your motherboard's not detecting your graphics card. That means the degrading has started. So that's the reason why I don't push mine over the maximum limit. I did this one here one time. And I pushed this to 3090 megahertz at 208 watts. I pushed it so close to artifacting. It's insane. But you know what? My connector never melted. That's a good thing too, because I was kind of expecting the connector to melt. But I don't think the connector would melt at 161 watts. It would take about close to about 230 watts for it to start to do that. So either way, the 8-pin connector on my GPU is just fine. I don't have to worry about that melting problem. Yes, on MSI Afterburner chicken, I pushed it to the max. So I could only put as low as 66% power limit, which maxed out at 420 watts when benchmarking on MSI Afterburner. Wow. Wow. That's not that much. Better to have a V8, no turbo requiring less than a foot on the gas, and then slapping a turbo, ask for more heat, pressure, complications, parts, sounds like overclocking. Yep, pretty much. Brain, that's it, pretty much. MTBK says at 2/3 the power limit, I would also consider undervolting. You can get higher clocks and performance out of the chip, but the driver crashes if the voltage supply is too low, to make the transistor shift, which is true. I do agree with you. But you don't have to make it that low, but you can make it low enough to make it do what you need it to do. Okay. I undervolted my CPU, but I decided to leave my GPU at stock because it's the overclock model. It's the OC model. I set mine on performance manually. So I don't need to push it any more than it already is. It does fine just the way it is. And it stays around 61 to 65 degrees Celsius in temperature. I don't need any more than that. It runs perfectly. Balanced. Perfect. So, you don't need to kill it to get it to run right. So it's always a trade-off between performance and stability. Yep. Hello there, Agwang. Hopefully I said that right, and I do apologize if I didn't. Welcome to the channel. Can it beat M4 Ultra? No. That it cannot. But if you're looking as far as graphics cards, can it beat the M4? 16 core? GPU wise, if you do it right, yeah, it could. But CPU wise, no. The only thing that would beat the Apple M4 Max, the M4 Max, would be the 9950X 3D. AMD's 9950X 3D, the 16-core 32-thread processor, would be the only one that would beat the Apple M4 Max. So, that would be the only one. Sucks to say it, but Nvidia N1X, Nvidia N1X, even with 20 cores right now, their base clock is too low. Their base clock is running around the same thing as Intel's Xeon processor. So it's basically, to me, their N1X is like a server grade processor. That's it. That's the whole highlight. It's a server grade processor, the N1X. Even an ARM processor. You can't take a telephone processor and try to run it as a desktop CPU. You can't. They're totally two different animals. x86 and ARM are two different animals. Especially with the screen sizes that they run on and everything else. You can't compare Apple. You can't compare Apple to x86. They really don't game that well on, with Apple. They're restricted on some of their games. x86 isn't restricted. That's the reason why, you got DirectX all the way up to DirectX 12.2. You got 10, 11, 12. You can go all the way down to DirectX 8 or 7. But that would be like running around, Windows 7, about Windows 7 or Vista, somewhere in there. But that's just my opinion. Okay. Makes me excited to hear this, since Intel will have their Battle Mage with 24 gigabytes of VRAM coming, showing lists at MSRP. Well, we do hope that it does. We do hope that it does. But as far as with Apple, they're running a phone processor and trying to make it stick on desktop. Okay? Understand that. So, it won't stick. Apple doesn't run the same amount of power that the x86 runs. Guess I'm out. Thank you, because I think for now M4 is the king of CPUs and nothing comes close as far as power efficiency, performance, and architecture in general. But that's true and untrue. Because if you push the 9950X 3D to its red line, it'll meet and exceed Apple M4 if you put them side by side. But you're looking at two different architectures anyway. You're looking at two totally different architectures anyway. That's ARM processor, and you're trying to compare it to an x86. I mean, if ARM took their architecture to x86, then maybe you could compare it. Maybe you could compare it, but you can't really compare it. Simple as that. Because that's total different architecture than compared to x86. x86 can be pushed for a longer time than ARM processors. ARM processors can get hotter a lot faster than x86 processors too. There's a lot of advantages and disadvantages. So, I think x86 architecture is dead. Well, that's your opinion. Everybody has their own opinion, you know, but the fact that even for server CPUs, ARM architecture is preferred, well, I don't know. Truthfully, I've been doing this 3 decades plus. I could tell the difference between my telephone and my PC that has x86. I can tell the speed difference between the two. My PC's faster than my telephone. And I got last generation architecture too. So, big difference. If the price is worth it and the program runs on it, sure, an M4 Ultra is great. x86 instructions do it for me. Yeah, they do me too, man. I do agree. Sacrificing some efficiency in favor of compatibility. Yeah. I do agree with that. And with x86 has been compatible with a lot of different operating systems too. They're not, see, now that's a good point that you just made there, MTBK. Because with x86, they can do Linux. They can do multiple operating systems. Well, let's see, Apple. They're just stuck with Apple. Yeah. But x86 is stuck with a bunch of operating systems. You could even do Android operating system with your PC, you know, x86 PC. You could do, let's see, you can do Chrome OS with your PC. You can do Linux, all the distros with your PC. You can do WinLite with your PC. You know, you can do many operating systems with your PC. You know, I've counted maybe over 20 different operating systems with x86. Compare that to Apple. What can Apple do? Apple can do Apple. So it's apples and oranges, guys, if you get it. So, I have been proponent of CISC for the rest of my 30 years of my computing experience, but now these days I think RISC is better now. Well, some people do and some people don't. You know, I've been doing this 3 decades as well, so I like the x86. The Apple kind of thing, I don't like their phones. I don't like the Apple phones. I don't like the Macs. They suck. To me, they suck. I get more advantage, and I can change parts. With Apple, you can't change nothing because they solder everything to the boards. But with x86, you can get a motherboard and you can change up your parts. You know, you can make it better, more efficient. You can't do that with Apple. You're stuck with what you got. It's soldered to the motherboard. So I go with what's the best of the best. I want to be able to have flexibility when it comes to my PC. I want to be able to change the RAM. I want to be able to change the SSD. I want to be able to change the CPU. I want to be able to change whatever cooler I want on that CPU. You know, I want to be able to change the case to whatever case I want instead of looking at something that looks something like you use like a pole in front of your house to hold up the awning. I don't want that kind of look. I want a PC that looks good. I don't want to look at a square box that looks like it's something that holds up the front of your awning in front of your house. I don't want that. No way, man. Guys, you got to understand where I'm coming from. And I'm just saying, I'm saying it for, you know, the realness of everything. When you got something that looks like a volcano and the heat's coming off the top of that thing and it's just blasting you in the face, I'd rather have this one because it's dispersing the heat. It's dispersing it. It's not just funneling it. That's something a PS5 does. But anyway, because of the workload for AI is different than just regular data centers, we have seen until 5 years ago. Well, yeah, I do agree with that. But data centers always change. Every second of the day. If you do engineering, you should know this. Everything changes within a split second of the day. So that means 1 second it could be one way, next minute it could flip-flop and go the other way. So things change. It's every second of the day. One person can say, okay, my idea is this, and they tweak it, and then another person says, well, we tried it that way and it actually crashed, so we tweak it this way and it works. So within that split second, boom, everything changes. That's just the way the PC world works. Your pricing's on the clock like the stock market. Am I wrong? Guys, tell me I'm wrong about this. The PC pricing's like the stock market. Tell me I'm wrong. Because you know I'm right. I mean, it's obvious. I don't get why everybody gets all butthurt about that. I really don't. It's obvious. You should see it right in front of you. One minute's talking about, oh, how great the 9060 XT is going to be. But as soon as they hear, oh, it's got 8 gigabytes, guess what? Everybody melts into the ground. They just melt into the ground. 2 years ago, they were saying the 6600, the RX 6600 was an 8 gigabyte dream 2 years ago. And now they're just melting into the ground. I don't get it. So, bad air design for newer PCs, but finding that in older 90s and putting in some great parts if they fit. Actually, I did a video on a sleeper build. It was an E-machine case. All right. This is the motherboard that I put in there. That's the motherboard I put into that E-machine. I took it out because I wanted to see what the problem was with the motherboard. I'm still going through this. You guys will probably end up getting a video sooner or later on this motherboard right here. You'll probably get a video on that, so do expect that. Seems one of the RAM sticks crashed the BIOS on that board, so now I kind of gotta update the BIOS and see if that'll bring it back to life. And if it don't, then I gotta get another $79 motherboard. So no big deal there. Let's see. What else you guys putting in here? Well, with ARM, you do not have the heat issues unlike x86. I beg to differ. When you're trying to compare a laptop style kind of computing to a desktop style kind of computing, two different worlds. My PC is only running at 55C, and compared to that Apple PC, that's going to be running a lot hotter than mine. And I'm live streaming right now, and I got 3 different windows opened up, and I got 3 different monitors and a cam going, and I got a lot of things going on my PC at the same time. Go ahead with the Apple thing. You can only hook up what? 1 monitor? I don't get it. I don't get why everybody's sticking up for Apple, you know. I really don't. Especially when they're having a bunch of issues with their software right now. That kind of brings me to like a AMD graphics card. Look, I'm not cracking on Apple. You know, they do got the Apple Watch. The only thing that they got is the Apple Watch. Okay? All right. Now you guys know. Cat's out of the bag. We are talking about ARC, not specific Apple chips. Even Intel Arrow Lake and AMD Strix Halo now is following chiplet architecture started by Apple M Design. Now Nvidia also jumped onto the bandwagon. Well, you know what? They might have. But they're still doing their monolithic chips. They're finding out the chiplet design doesn't do much justice that a monolithic chip can do. Doing a chiplet design means you're spreading the heat out a little bit further. That means you're going to have more wires that you got to connect to from one chiplet to the next. Instead of doing it monolithic where it's closer together to where it's all in one, and then you can take and do a better architecture with monolithic. I think that. You know, I'm not so hipped on the chiplet design. All I hear is nothing but problems with the chiplet designs. So, I understand what you mean. You know, everybody is jumping on that chiplet bandwagon, but you're going to find they're going to jump off of it sooner or later because they're going to go back to monolithic because they're going to want to put more transistors on the dies themselves. So if that's the case, guess what they're going to be doing? They're going to be going back to monolithic because now they can compact more transistors and get more power so they can sell it more to the community and make more money. It's all about money, as nothing else. The big greed does come out when it says big money. Big money. So, just keep that in mind. Not about pricing, just as a rapid depreciation, then holding an index. Well, yeah. Well, Brain, you know, 34 is not bad to get into the market. You know, it's not bad to get into the market, but take it slowly. Take it one step at a time. Because if you go and jump both feet into the market, then you're going to have so much confusion. It's just going to be so much wrapped around you. You ain't going to know which way to go, and then you're going to end up making mistakes. And I always tell everybody, baby step it, one step at a time. Especially when you're getting into the game. One step at a time. Because if you go and choose the wrong parts, then you're going to be stuck with them. Because, you know, what happens if a company says, well, we're not taking back returns? It's going to come down to that sooner or later. So keep that in mind. I like monolithic chips. I do agree with MTBK. Because they might be more reliable. Yeah, which they are, because the architecture is linked solid, not loosely linked. There's a difference between having three chiplets compared to one monolithic. One monolithic, it puts everything into one area. Chiplet design puts it in different areas. And then you got more wiring that goes through there. And then you got, everybody says, oh no, there's no latency to it. I'm just going to tell you, I think there's more latency in chiplet design than monolithic. That's just my opinion. You guys got your own opinion, but that's just my opinion. So, have you seen the interview where Lisa Su and former Intel CEO sat together and talked about x86 architecture needs to change? Yeah, I did, but truthfully, are they going to change it? They're making too much money off of it. Why would they change it? See, that's what you consider smoke and mirrors. Okay? Companies do that just so that way they get the community, you know, intrigued to it. Get everybody hyped up to it. Make it the new hype. And it never comes out. It always stays the same. If you've noticed, all the way back when they first started 8086 to now, then you'll know and understand. So, it's simple as that. When they cracked with the first 286, you know, processor, Intel tried to break ground. Yeah. Stealing the ideas from other people. That's what somebody else said. Don't quote me on that. That's what some other people were saying back then. Intel stole the design of the 286 and patented it from IBM. That's what I heard. That was back in the early 80s. So, I didn't see this interview, but I guess they are right. If they know what the consumer wants. See, that's the thing. You can change the architecture all you want, guys. The only thing that's going to change is the developers of the games. They're the ones that are holding the cards. They're the ones that are holding all the keys. If you guys haven't seen it, the game developers are the ones that are holding the show. And you got nothing but these big companies, GPU manufacturers and all that, following along with the suit. So you think that Nvidia, AMD, or Intel is ever going to make something faster than a game developer can actually make a game? No, they're not. This is how they make their bread and butter. They keep you at a 5% rule. The 5% rule is that they keep you 5% going. 5% going. 5%. Every graphics card update or generation update, they keep you right at the 5% rule. You guys thinking, oh yeah, you're getting 12, 13, 15%. You're not. Every graphic card generation, it's only been a 5%. Generation to generation is only actually really 5%. Stock on the clock, it's only 5%, guys. So, like I've tried to tell everybody, if it's 100%, every generation they go up 100%. So that means 100% plus another 50 to 70%. So that's 170% faster than last generation. Then they're doing something. They're giving us more for the money. They're not going to do that. They're not going to tell you you need to buy a $10,000 graphics card like the 6000 Pro. Nvidia says $10,000 graphics card. Get the 10,000 Pro or the 6000 Pro. 10 grand. It's faster than the 5090. Go check out DeBauer's video on that. He made one on the 6000 Pro series. The 6000 Pro should have been the 5090, guys. 6000 Pro should have been the 5090. If they're making something faster than the 5090, there's a problem. Everybody won't get it. It'll take time. Let it sink in. Like Elon Musk said, carrying a big sink. Let it sink in. You'll get it. I think AMD putting X16 instead of X8 was a good idea. Yeah, on the 8 GB card, I agree. That's the best thing I've seen them do. But the worst thing was to make it a 128-bit bus. They should have made it at least 256-bit bus. Across the board. Across the board. And the reason why they don't do that is because they know they get technicians out there that'll take and turn around, change out the chips, and your 8 GB graphics card will automatically transform into a 24 GB graphics card if you put the 256-bit bus on that graphics card. They already did 16 gigabytes on an RX 580. 16 gigabytes out of China on an RX 580. I think that had a 256-bit bus. Yeah. These companies learn quick. That's why they don't do that. That's why they don't give you that extra performance. Because they're not making money off that extra performance. They make money off of what you're buying. If you want 256-bit bus, then you better go buy a 5080 or a 5090 or something equal to close to it. So, all right, guys, I'm sitting here looking at y'all, and well, we're getting into a deep discussion here. Why? Because Apple busted their... Bro, I remember when Apple came out. Okay? Bill Gates and I forgot the other dude. My bad. My brain's just fried today. But you got Microsoft. I'm just going to say you got Microsoft and Apple. They were together as one. They split up because they got into an argument. Apple went one way. Microsoft went another way. It's dead and done. Doesn't matter what you buy. If it performs for you well, that's what matters more than anything. That's what matters more than anything. It's your personal gameplay. That's what matters. It's not what everybody else is doing in the world. Because what everybody else is doing in the world, you're not doing. You're doing something else. You could either be playing your games, you could be playing electric guitar on your PC, you could be watching movies on your PC, you could be doing anything on your PC. Does it require something to be running balls to the wall? No, it don't. That's a myth. You're just paying for, when you buy all this expensive stuff, you're just paying for stuff you really don't need. Your eyes can only see so much on your screen. So you're paying for all this stuff you can't see. One day people will get it. That's the reason why I told everybody like this. I'm on 1080p. I'm happy with it. Does great for me. That's where I want to be. 1440p and 4K, I can do that with dynamic screen resolution. If I want to see what's on 1440p or 4K, I can go dynamic screen resolution. I have that option on any one of my monitors. So I don't have to worry about buying expensive monitors or expensive parts, because I can still do the same thing everybody else can do. Maybe not at the same FPS, but I can still do the same things everybody else can do. Even at 4K, even though it's not real 4K, but it's, you know, still screen resolution. I still get 4K at screen resolution. It doesn't look like it, but it does. It runs like it. So I can't beat it. I've already benchmarked it and everything else. Runs fine. You get what you get. Okay. But the CPU to RAM path is practically none. No extra wirings, no need to go through PCIe bus. But I hate to tell you, it's still got to go through the CPU. Because it's still, your SSD still has to go through your RAM. You know, because your CPU still has to trade off between the RAM and your SSD. Your GPU still got to trade off with the system RAM as well. With the SSD, it's you can't take it out of the equation. You can take it out of the equation when you come up with a chip solution that requires separate lanes for those architectures. But until then, they're all hubbed going through one central place, and that's called your CPU. So regardless how you have to look at it, you still need a CPU, and it still has to do computations, just like your GPU having to do texture, you know. You know what I mean. So riding the AI hype, chiplet design, integrated unified RAM wins. Well, that's, I do, well, if it does, it does. It doesn't, it doesn't. Remember, Intel did the unified. It didn't work out well for them. Apple's holding on to a legacy, you know, without coming up with something new. They just keep refreshing the same chips. So what would make me interested in going to Apple? What, they changed the architecture a little bit and come on the same chip? Whatever. They don't change anything. They're just, all they're doing is modifying the architecture. Everything is refreshed. They've been doing refreshes ever since the first time they started building phones, PCs. You know, Apple, when they built their Apple 2C generation, when they first started out, it's probably way back then, you know, it's really way back then, back in the 70s and 80s, and when they had that generation between your green screen and your white pixels, there wasn't much there. So going from that to what we got today is better than none, no matter what it is. So I'm not going to talk down about this or that or anything else just because they don't do it my way. I don't care if they do it my way. They don't have to. They're in business to do it their way. So their way is everybody's way. And you have to understand that. It's kind of written in stone. If you don't like their product, you don't have to buy it. You don't have to like their way. Then you can go with somebody else's way. And if you don't like their way, then you can go to somebody else's. And then somebody else's. And then somebody else's. You know how many times I've done that? I went to somebody else's, and so many times I don't need to go to somebody else's anymore because I build my own PC and I'm happy with it. I build my own PC at any time, any place, and anywhere, and I don't worry about it. I put in the operating system that I want. I don't have to worry about it. But Apple, you're stuck with their product, their operating system. You can't do it your way. You have to do it Apple's way, and that's the only way. But with Microsoft or Linux or Android or many other different software companies, Ubuntu, you can even do it with Ubuntu. You can't do that with Apple unless you make modifications, but you can't do that with Apple. Apple's in their own realm. They're stuck with their own processors. They're not competing with the real world. They're competing with themselves. So I can't even really say I put Apple into the category of this world. I really can't. It's total different ball game. ARM and x86 is two different things. If you don't like x86, I don't blame you. You don't have to like x86. You don't have to like x86. I know you guys can tell me until you're blue in the face you don't like x86. I mean, but the thing is, at the end of the day, you got 64% of the world that does. At least 64%. So how are you going to change that? Nobody can change the world. The world changes itself. With future tech and what's coming up, I'm waiting to see what this future tech is. Because they're saying something good's coming out of 2027. I'm waiting to see. It's a waiting game. With future tech, it's a waiting game. Unless you're working on it yourself for these companies, it's a waiting game for the community. The consumer. It's a waiting game. And we get excited when we're waiting for something good. But when it's crap, then yeah, we ain't waiting too long. Because it's going to be sitting on the shelf for a long time. That's the way it works in this world. You can't change it. Simple. Let me read back what you guys have been writing since I've been jacking my jaw. Let's see. Got to catch up with you guys. Even Microsoft has been preparing this move for making Windows of ARM, so get ready. Well, you know, I'm going to tell you something. They're doing much more than that. It's not they're making just for ARM. They're making it for when Microsoft goes cloud-based and gets out of the operating system game and just goes cloud-based and then draws everybody into the cloud base. They make more money. Okay, Microsoft makes more money on cloud-based than they do passing out product keys. And I've said this before earlier in the video. There's many people that are talking about it. They don't make much of anything on the product keys. So you know, with these updates and everything else, they're not gaining money, they're losing money. So Microsoft doesn't have to do Windows updates. They can go cloud-based, and they can say, everybody go cloud-based and get automatic updates there, or you're stuck with another operating system. That's coming. That is coming. It's been talked about. It's still in the wind right now, but it's coming, and I'm expecting it, and I'm going to be ready for it, and I hope you all are too. I hope you all are going to be ready for that time when they say we're going cloud-based, and you're not holding your pants, and you're like, what am I going to do now? So, a lot of people have been doing the shift to Linux is because they know it's going to be coming sooner or later. They know it's going to be time to be familiar with how to do your operating system on Linux. So, I'm not doing it as a scare tactic or fear mongering or nothing. I'm just telling you what the writing on the wall is. And you can either take it with a grain of salt or you can take it with gold. Either way you want to take it, it's up to you. So that 10 grand is crazy. I saw it more than the gold model Dubai, yeah. And more performance. They got. You think they did? I don't think they got gypped. When you're doing what? Well, maybe you're right. 13% more performance for 10 grand compared to 3,500. Yeah, you might be right there. I wasn't even really, putting that into perspective, but I'm glad you brought that up. That's a good thought about that too. Welcome back, Checking Man. Good to see you. Welcome back. Used to be their low-end consumer PC with 8 gigabytes of RAM and up to 64 gigabytes for gamers. Now it's all about AI chips, 50 tops. Actually, no. It's 40 tops minimal. Microsoft put out a word that it was 40 tops minimal. Unless they told you something different, but from what I know right now, it's 40 tops minimal. 40 trillion operations per second. So, monolithic, you need a GPU for that. Well, if you go and look on the charts, and like I've been trying to tell everybody, what I'm hearing through the wind is that Microsoft is working with Nvidia on the AI, the tensor cores on the Nvidia graphics cards. They're trying to convert those into AI tops. Something like that. So if that's the case, then I ain't got no problem with my graphics card having enough tops to get the new software from Microsoft. That is the one positive thing they did. Some people are talking about right now. If this comes true, then Microsoft and Nvidia will have a plan. It'll be up to AMD and Intel to catch up with that. But there's already plan in the works. So, but anyway. Google and Microsoft are aiming for quantum. That's been for a long time, though. That's been for a long time. So yeah, that's nothing new. But they're not going to get to quantum just yet. They got a long way to go for that. They still got to get their qubits stabilized in order for it to work. They're still having stabilization issues. So yeah, I wish them the best. I mean, if they can get it, then that'd be good for them, because for cloud-based businesses, yeah, that would be best for them. But when it comes to classic computers like ours, we're in the classic zone. It's not going to do us any good, because those quantum chips run a lot faster than what we got here. It would take us maybe what, 1,000,000 years to catch up with one of those with our computer. Was it at 1,000,000 years or 100,000 years or 10,000? I can't remember what it was, but it was something like that. But damn, having one processor with 10 qubits sounds really small, but takes and blows out of the water the 9950 X3D, or even what Apple has compared to their M4 chip. Quantum is just going to eat it alive. I'm just going to tell you that right now. No chance. No chance. Quantum against x86 and ARM, no chance. Quantum's just going to take and blow everything out of the water. So, yeah, I do agree with that quantum thing. What computer specs you running? Me, I am running, believe it or not, I am running a B550 Asus motherboard, Strix Gaming, and I'm running a Ryzen 7 5700X with 64 gigs of DDR4 RAM. I am running 2 SSDs, and I'm running 1 hard drive. And one's a Samsung 990, and the other one's the Crucial P2. And I'm running a big Seagate Seagate hard drive for extra storage. Yeah. And all that on a 750 watt power supply. So, not too bad. If that's what you were wondering. Oh, and don't forget my 360 millimeter AIO too, connected to my chip. It's like overkill, but it works. So, is that the specs you were looking for there, Mr. Chicken? Something simple. Not too expensive. Good specs. You don't need more than that for what you do, right? Me, no, not really. For what I do right now, I don't need more than that. Why would I need more than that? I don't need to spend thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars on equipment that I'm only going to be using half of the hardware. It just doesn't make sense. This is the reason why I handpicked all my hardware. I handpicked all my hardware, built my own system, put the operating system in, cleaned everything out, did everything nice, got everything balanced. Everything balanced. Runs like a gem. No problem. I have no complaints. I have everybody sitting there complaining about the new, well, let me use this as an example. The new Nvidia update, 576.52. Let me give you a hint. I got it in my computer right now. For my graphics card. Am I blue screening? No. Am I having any problems? No. Am I worried about it? No. It's because my system's balanced. you can balance your system and make it run like a gem. Mine runs like a gem because I watch what my updates do, what other people don't do. I watch how my updates run, and I go through all the updates for Microsoft. I go all through the updates of Nvidia, and I go through all the updates for AMD and Intel. That's all wrapped up into my PC. All those companies are wrapped up into my PC. So, for me to be siding with one or the other, I don't. Because I know I got a part of every one of those companies in my PC. So, I don't have a favorite. I am neutral to having a favorite. I'm a fan of the hardware, guys. I don't play favoritism with companies. I'm a fan of the hardware. If it's good, I'm going to tell you. If it's bad, I'm going to tell you. Either way, I'm going to tell you. So, if you want honesty and truth, I'm going to tell you like it is. If it's good or bad. So, I don't care what company puts what name on what product. Once I test it, and I test it in front of you guys, that's it. That's the real deal. That's live. That's what you get. Nothing hidden behind the doors or anything else. I show you what I test with, and I got the camera pointed on me, so there's no trickery when I test. I have nothing to hide. Simple as that. Let me read back a little bit. Efficient use of your money, unlike me. Yeah, well, I mean, for what I paid for it, I'm happy. Is it going to last me another 3 or 4 years? Yeah. It'll last me a long time. See, you can't be picky about your hardware. If it's running good and it's slamming your games along and you're happy with it, then if it's not broke, don't fix it. That's the whole idea. If it's not broke, don't fix it. Once you start fixing it, that's when you start running into problems. And then you start saying to yourself, oh my God, I just did this. How do I fix it? How do I fix it? And then you start running into anxiety and everything else. Stop the anxiety. If you don't need to fix it, leave it alone. Simple as that. Really, you don't need to fix it. Just let it run. Be happy with it. Play your games. Do your content creating. Do your office work. Do everything on your PC. Have fun with it. That's what it's there for. That's the whole idea. Having fun with it. It's not about, hardware mischief, whatever that's going on in the world. I know you guys love watching YouTube, and I know you guys love watching how we all benchmark and everything else. And I know you guys like how we're playing our games and stuff like that. But the end of the day is, what are you doing to making that gaming experience possible for you? Not for me, for you. You're the one that's supposed to be enjoying the gaming performance. Keep this in mind. You're supposed to be the one that's enjoying the gaming performance and having fun playing the games. Not sitting on YouTube watching all the games, listening to everybody go ha ha he he whatever. I'm sorry, I had to get that out. I mean, this is just like, too much drama over my head, but I had to say it like it is. So, don't focus much on performance ratio either. No, we all know. I'm on Windows 11 23H2 because I heard the privacy recall issue with 24H2. Anything to expect for me? Well, let's see. Let me be honest with you. I run Windows 11 24H2. I'm a content creator. Okay, I have a lot to worry about privacy, don't you think? Now, compared to what you're doing and everything else, there are buttons. See, even with this recall, you can turn it off completely. Even if it uploads to your PC, which it's not, unless you got Copilot plus PC for now. Right now, recall won't really, it will, but it won't. Okay? Number one, you don't have a neural processing unit set up for your PC if you're running x86. So recall, you really don't have that much to worry about. Especially when Microsoft told everybody that in order for you to get recall, you have to manually turn it on. So, unless you turn it on, that's the only way it's going to work. I can tell you I don't have recall in my PC. I got something that's similar to it, but I turned that off. I made a video on that not too long ago as well. You might want to catch up on that video. So, but I can tell you that right now, Microsoft, and here's another thing for you guys. I know it's going way off topic. I know we're kind of way off topic from the N1X, but here's another thing that came out today. Microsoft did a Windows update, tried to nail in what was on KB 5058499, tried to nail it into the new update. Turn around, everybody's having problems again. So Microsoft has said, let me pull it back. Let me pull that update back. Now everybody's going to have to wait for the patch for that update. Now they got to patch their own update. It's crazy. So, I think it's fine to watch people game. Well, no, there's nothing wrong with it. Hey, chicken, there's nothing wrong with it whatsoever. It's all good. If that's the fun and excitement people want to have, that's fine. I don't have a problem with it. But to experience the actual gaming for yourself, to just go in there and have a blast. Let's say you got a friend that, you know, a coworker that, you know, you guys can chillax and guess what? Play shooter games and stuff like that. You're just having a blast. Go have a blast. You're satisfied with your PC, then have a blast. But if you're just using your PC to watch YouTube other than play games and watch other people game, then you're not doing yourself any justice. You're not playing the games. Watching other people game. It takes more time to watch other people game than for you to play the game. So, you know, kind of keep that in mind. Keep that in focus. I can understand some people too, they can't, you know, they don't have that kind of expensive gaming system where they can really keep up with that certain gaming. And people, yeah, do like to watch that. I do understand that. There's nothing wrong with that. But there's also games out there you can play. If you're a heavy gamer and you love gaming, then go game. Be happy. A lot of people enjoy it. Maybe playing the game itself could be stressful and it's a competitive mode or something, you know. I always put mine in easy mode because of my eyeballs. And I'm going to tell y'all like this. I have epilepsy, and I can only play so much games per day. So, when I do play a game, I'll play it for a couple hours, and then I'm good. But I can't play it straight 12, 14 hours a day. No, I can't do that. It's hard for me to do that. So you have to understand that. But I do testing and, you know, test graphics cards and stuff like that. But with gaming, guys, I'll get at least a couple hours in a day, at least. But I try. I do try. Oh, okay, you're right. Yeah. Well, Star Citizen is a beautiful game. I'm just waiting to save up for a 4K monitor so I can enjoy it. Hey, it's all good. It is all good. You got a game plan. You know how your mind's set at it. You know what you want. You know you're going to get it done. That's all that matters. And when you get it done and you sit in front of it and you go like this and you say to yourself, I won. I got everything I need. Then you'll be the most happy person in the world. Just like I am too, guys. I might not have 4K, but the way I got my system set up, I don't really need it. So, I'm happy with what I have. That's what matters the most. Being happy with what you have. So, anyway, guys, let me tell you how this is going to go. No, I'm just kidding. If you haven't signed up for Discord and you want to become part of our Discord family, I did put a link in the chat box somewhere. And if you can't find it, what I'll do is, what I should have done was I should have pinned it. There, I pinned it for you guys. So if you want to take that couple minutes and if you want to join the Discord family, it's free. We talk PCs over there. We keep it clean. We keep it real. You know what I'm saying? So, but just make sure you keep it clean and keep it real. But I pinned it for you guys so that way you guys can link over there so you guys can join up if you want to. It's up to you. So, but yeah, I'm going to close out this evening right here, this session with you guys, and say thank you for joining us on the stream today. We did really good today. I enjoyed everybody's comments and everybody's points of view. It was awesome. Remember, you leaving your points of view with many people, guess what? It's not that you're helping the channel, you're helping the next person that's watching the video. So keep that in mind. Your information is valuable. Oh, and look at it, everybody's information is valuable. From soup to nuts. And whoever signed into Discord, welcome to the family. How about that? We'll see who signed in Discord. Cyborg, good to see you. I'm going to wave to say hi to you real quick. So that way you know I seen you. We all talk here on General Text Chat. You got these little hashtags and it says General Text Chat. You go right there and you'll be all good. So that way you know. Catch you later there, MTBK. Good to see you once again. I seen an OLED panel in real life and wow, my eyes were amazed. The IPS panel feels like poverty. Chicken, you got that right. You're welcome, Machine. Anytime, my brother. Anytime. Good night there, chicken. It's great to talk with you, Will. And also, too, guys, Saturday, 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, right here on the channel. Live stream again. Stick around for it. Make sure you sign up and hit the subscribe button and hit the like button. Don't forget about the notification bell. And like I said, you guys have been awesome today, and I do appreciate everybody being here. But also, too, if you want to become a member of the channel, you can subscribe, but there's a member side to it as well. Just hit the join button. We got different varieties, and, you know, membership's not that much per month, just to let you guys know. So, but it helps the channel. It helps us get things here, gets the ball rolling so we can move forward into the future. Just to let you know that as well. But anyway, guys, until the next time and the next video or live stream, we will see you on the next one. And if you want to get in onto Discord, then please do. And we'll catch you on the next one.